This is where I had my first big accident. Right here, I show you exactly the crack that my hose got caught in. When I pulled my truck, you heard it go, pow!
At the end of the second spraying season, Mr. Johnson discovered a lesion on his knee. It starts spreading and spreading, and you can see by October 2014, it was covering his whole body. He calls Monsanto.
Jennifer Baichwal, congratulations on opening Hot Docs again, the only woman to have opened it twice. Yay.
Thank you. That's really such an honor. We're so excited.
Well, what a film. We know that Monsanto has been in sort of media crosshairs for a number of years, and it astounds me that they're still at it. Now, you have a subject, Dewayne Lee Johnson, and he's very compelling. He's a groundskeeper who found himself doused once with Roundup, and it has terminal cancer. But he's very compelling. And so how did you find him?
Well, when we started this whole project, it was right on the heels of Anthropocene, like in 2019, in the winter, when we were at Sundance, actually, with the film. And I learned of this trial, and I learned that there were going to be ongoing trials. And I asked friends, who's documenting it? Somebody's got to do that. And it turned out that nobody was. And so I met with all the executive, with the multi-district litigation executive group of lawyers, and said, how do you feel about us covering this? And they all agreed. And then we met Lee. And Lee is he's not an outgoing guy. He's a family man, as he says. He doesn't want to be in the spotlight. And yet something about him, he knew he had to do it. And as the bellwether case, and you know what bellwether means, it's like, if this trial goes according to plan, then all the other thousands will be able to be heard, right? And he knew that was a huge responsibility. And I just said, please let us tell your story. And he did, and he trusted us. And I'm just so grateful, because he's an amazing person. And I will say some of the, I'm always thinking about the ethics of engagement with subjects, because it's an aggressive act, even just to put a camera in somebody's face, right? So when we talked to him about this, he really opened up. And some of the scenes in the film that are a bit hard to watch, he wanted us to show those. He wanted us to show what it takes for him to get up in the morning just to start his day, right? And it's hard to look at, but it's real. And he's so brave to allow us. He was so brave to allow us to record that and to tell his story. And I'm deeply grateful for that.
Popular weed killer, Roundup.
Roundup. The active ingredient in Roundup is the world's most
popular weed killer, glyphosate.
Glyphosate was patented originally as a stripper for industrial boilers. Then they discovered, actually, hey, this thing kills weeds.
We're using this stuff to maintain profitability. To maximize your yield, you got to minimize your infestation of weeds.
Many people have Monsanto stories, but I mean, as you raise it in the documentary, his case was 15 million documents that they had to create a program for. The expense just over the top, which is, I guess, why a lot of people have not come forward. I know that, there are cases pending, but it seems it would be discouraging from the get-go to know what you're up against.
Well, as we focus on Lee's story, and his story in the trial is the spine of the film, but we step back to the bigger picture. And part of that bigger picture is the limitations of mass torts as a tool of justice. Mass torts were thousands of plaintiffs, often coming together against a large multinational corporation. And without the lawyers who take these cases on spec, spend millions of dollars, years of time to get them to go to trial, no ordinary person would ever be able to take these companies to challenge them. And I think that that's the way that justice works in the United States. The limitation is that they're money damages only. So, nobody's going to jail for this. There's not criminal charges. And I wonder why. And also why are the regulatory agencies, such as the Environmental Protection Agency, or in the case of pharmaceuticals, the FDA, why are these organizations that are meant to regulate these corporations not doing their job, basically? And why is it, people call it this revolving door, where people go back and forth from working from industry to working for the regulatory bodies to working for industry. And there's an obvious conflict of interest there. Yeah. And yet that's the way that it works.
The residue is in the seed, and if we use that seed for food production, then it's in the food.
It go around spraying the whole forest. It changed the whole environment. You don't hear no birds singing, any insect, nothing.
These pesticides are affecting the life cycles of these different species.
4 studies had come out showing that Roundup causes genotoxical damage.
The Monsanto paper showed us all those things.
As more information comes into the case, the knives get sharper and sharper.
We knew that it caused cancer, but we didn't know that Monsanto knew.
It makes me think of that American phrase, depraved indifference. I mean, governmental. It just seems beyond belief. But I'm wondering if, as a result of your film and other media takes on Bayer, Monsanto, whether companies within the green movement, but just through sheer idealism, might become more humane with all of this coming out, and with people actually being able to spot them and say, "Hey, this is wrong."
Well, that's an optimistic perspective, and I hope you're right. That's a hopeful perspective. And why did we make the film? Precisely for this reason, to create a historical record that wasn't a transcript of the trial, right? Who's going to read that? But a historical record that was comprehensible to ordinary people, including us, like learning that science, like the complexity of the evidence. And remember also legally, we're who knows how they're going to react to us. And so we were extremely careful that every single claim made in the film was a claim that was made in court and was backed up by evidence. And we had lawyers combing through every shred of footage that we wanted to use, every fact that we state, all of our statistics, to make sure that they were true. And that is also really important, that that we've done that. And I hope that it has an effect beyond what the trials and the successful trials have already done, which is considerable.
Did you feel safe? Did you and Lee feel safe all the time?
Listen, it's been 4 years. We've been very careful about our computer hygiene, phone hygiene, all of those things around, we are funders, all of which, except for Utah Film Center, are Canadian. We're all kept this under wraps like we did. We financed this film as a film on global insect collapse, and that is part of the film for sure. But everyone helped us there in keeping a low profile so that we wouldn't get targeted before the film was released. And so now we're into a different phase. This is the release phase. Everybody can see it. Everybody from that corporation can see it. I don't know how they're going to react, but we stand by it. And it was a story that needed to be told.
And everyone who sees it will stand by it. Congratulations, Jennifer. Another monumental achievement. Your films are just so moving.
Thank you so much. I'm really, I'm looking forward to it going out into the world and steeling myself at the same time.
Exactly. Be safe. Look after yourself. And Lee.
Thank
you.
My cancer is called cutaneous T-cell lymphoma, non-Hodgkin's.
Monsanto made a choice to not put a cancer warning on the label.
The common joke out in the country is that it's so safe you can drink it.
I had upwards of 7 IVs.
10 bags a day.
I had 20 treatments with radiation.
I lost 35 pounds.
Al came in and thought I was dead.
It's got to stop.
I think we've got to look at these things from a bigger picture.
You are what you eat. You are what you breathe. You are what you're around, your environment. This is about food. This is about health. This is about the soil. This is about environment. This is not an Lee Johnson story. This is bigger than me.